y'all do is walk down it.
The 2023 NFL schedule is out, and it's time to mark your calendars. From primetime showdowns to exciting matchups against division rivals, the Saints are ready to make some noise this season. With quarterback Derek Carr at the helm, plenty of offensive firepower, and the Saints' signature defense, there's a lot to look forward to from the black and gold. So get ready, Saints fans. The dates have been set, and the 2023 season is underway. Welcome to the Saints 2023 schedule release breakdown show alongside lead writer reporter for Saints News on SI.com, John Hendricks. I'm Erin Summers. We had the opponents, and now we know the dates with the schedule coming out Thursday night from the NFL. We are starting things off right here in New Orleans against the Tennessee Titans. It's the first time that the Saints have been home at the Caesars Superdome since 2020, so we're really excited about that. It's going to be great, and they've won the last 4 home openers that they had here in New Orleans, so hopefully that luck continues. It's going to be a lot of fun games coming up, and it starts early against the Carolina Panthers. We get into our first primetime games. We have 3 this season. It'll be a Monday night game, week 2 at Carolina, and there are a lot of unknowns for this Carolina Panthers team. As for the rest of the NFC South, what are you looking at with that game, that opponent, early on in the season?
I really like the fact that it is a Monday night football game. It's going to be part of the doubleheaders and such, so it's obviously, going to be having a lot of more intrigue to it. And I think it's going to be one of the underrated matchups, just being able to see Bryce Young gets a chance for the Saints to really prove themselves and prove their mettle. And then they got to go against the Packers on the road the week right after.
You mentioned Bryce Young, the number 1 overall pick, but Andy Dalton right now they've said is going to be the starter for the Panthers to start things off. So we could see him. It would be just week 2. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on as well. With the Carolina Panthers being that game in week 2, that starts off our division opponents. And then we'll see the next one, week 4. It'll be Tampa Bay here. Then it's going to be late in the season until we see some of the NFC South again. It'll be week 12 against a team in Georgia. Week 14 against the Carolina Panthers. Week 17 will be Tampa, and then we'll end the season against Atlanta. And with so many uncertainties with teams, so many changes, it's going to be nice to get a good idea of what those teams are going to be looking at in a very important part of the year after the bye. The Saints bye week is week 11, so we will see 4 of those NFC South teams in the last 7 games of the season. I think that the bye week fell at a good point this year.
Look, at week 11, it's a chance for, you're going to have injuries. They're just part of the game, right? And so that's just going to be a spot where week 12, when you make that return against the Falcons, then, you have a chance to get some key players back if that's the case. And look, anytime that you're able to get a bye that's not early in the season, I'm not a fan of those. The Saints have had those in the past, but chance to get healthy for some of these guys that have this early injury stuff and training camp, preseason, fingers crossed nothing happens, but any of those that do come up, it's a huge chance to be able to take some rest and really focus on that back half of the schedule where you're really going to be playing a lot of your most meaningful games. I always remember the season starts after Thanksgiving, right? And so for the Saints, they'll be ready, being at home, and be able to be healthy.
I think October 29th, that's week 8, it's going to be a Super Bowl rematch. I know it's been a little while, but you are going to be seeing the Colts, so that could be fun too. Just add a little nostalgia to that because we obviously won that one over them. Looking at the season completely, how many wins we got?
Well, I'd say for me right now, the ceiling is 12-5. And look, I'd love to say 17-0, right? But I think realistically, the floor would be 10-7. I think there's going to be marked improvement. I think there's a lot of exciting additions that have come to this team. So look, I feel like I would take 13-4. I think 12-5 is probably about where I would put their ceiling, but I'm a little bit more optimistic there. So I'll say 13-4.
For the last 19 of 20 seasons, 2 teams have won their division after not making the playoffs. So there's a chance. And I think that the Saints have a very, very good one to take the NFC South this year. That is the goal to start, and then further on, that would be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me, John, on this schedule breakdown show. If you want tickets, you now know the dates. You can go to NewOrleansSaints.com and grab them there. For John Hendricks, I'm Erin Summers. Let's go Saints.
Good afternoon, this is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report. Week 1 of the preseason Let's go over the Saints schedule and the Saints release schedule as you just saw that video. Week 1 of the preseason, Chiefs versus Saints. Now we skip to the regular season. Some of the best running backs in the game. We go up to Alvin Kamara and Derrick Henry. In week 2, Michael Thomas and the Saints, longtime Saints receiver, still one of the best in the game, against Travis Marshall, who was drafted in 2021 in his third season, hoping for a big breakout season. Green Bay Packers highlight in the backfield Tyrann Mathieu, safety, former Chief, whom is wearing a Saints uniform for the first time last season, and the Green Bay Packers, Javon Alexandra. Week 4, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, two of the best receivers in the game, Michael Thomas and Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, you can add to the list on the receiving. Week 5 at New England. If New England had DeAndre Hopkins, I might highlight him. But for this, right now, we'll have David Carr, who hopes to become more successful on the winning side. Same with Matt Jones, who had a very good rookie year but dropped back last year. Week 6, Texans. C.J. Stroud, the second overall draft pick, and David Carr, both first-year quarterbacks for the team. Of course, C.J. Stroud was drafted second out of Ohio State. Week 7, Jacksonville will once again do the quarterbacks. C.J. Stroud was drafted second overall. Trevor Lawrence was drafted first overall. From 2021, he had a rough season in 2021. He led the Jags to the playoffs in 2022, but would lose in the first round to the Kansas City Chiefs. At Colts, we'll go to the running back position again. Alvin Kamara, who we see had one of the best backs in the league with 860. Jonathan Taylor had 1,800 yards in 2020, but he dropped back in 2021 to 860 yards last season. Week 9, Chicago Bears. Again, highlight quarterbacks David Carr and first-year quarterback is Saint and Justin Fields, the young quarterback. We're hoping they have a great quarterback out of Justin Fields. Vikings Week 10, Justin Jefferson and Michael Thomas, both receivers. At the receiver position, Justin Jefferson, best receiver in the game for the Vikings, who had over 1,800 yards last season. Week 11 bye. Week 12, Atlanta Falcons, Juwan Johnson and Kyle Pitts, both at the tight end position. Johnson was undrafted. Detroit Lions, Jared Goff, and a one-time first overall pick against David Carr, the wily veteran. Carolina Panthers, Frankie Levi, who had 7 sacks, and Cam Jordan, who had 8.5 sacks in last season, but had 12 in 2021. The New York Giants, Saquon Barkley, who is one of the best players to watch out for in the league, but is holding out doing the franchise tag and he wants more money. Barkley had over 1,300 yards, while now Alvin Kamara had 897. Aaron Donald, best defensive player in the game. We go to Cam Jordan, Donald only had 5 sacks last season, but 12.5 sacks the season before. Cam Jordan had the same. Buccaneers lost Talvin Davis, who had 123 tackles last season, one of the best defensive players in the game. DeMar Davis also had 100 tackles for the Saints. Week 18, Jesse Bates, who had 4 INTs, and Marshawn Lattimore, though he was the 11th pick in the NFL draft, but has been a disappointment. That would be the Atlanta Falcons on Week 18. Now we go over the schedule again. Sunday at Green Bay Packers, kick is at 12. Week 1, opening day, Tennessee Titans, kick is at 12. In Week 2, Monday night, 6:15, at Carolina Panthers, they will host Week 1, the Titans. Kickoff for Week 2 is at 6:15 Central Time on Amazon Prime. Sunday, October 1st, 3, Packers in Lambeau Field. Kick is at 12 versus the Saints. Week 5 versus at the New England Patriots. Kick is at 12 from Gillette Stadium in Boston or New England, whichever one you want to say. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kick is at 12. Week 5 versus at the New England Patriots. Kick is at 12 from Gillette Stadium in Boston or New England, whichever one you want to say. Week 6 versus the Houston Texans. Kick is at 12 on Sunday. Week 7, Jacksonville Jaguars. Kick is at 7:15 Thursday night on Amazon Prime. Week 8, Indianapolis Colts 10-29 at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Kick is at 12. Week 9, some of my fans' favorite teams, Chicago Bears. 12 o'clock Central is kickoff time. Week 10 at Minnesota Vikings. Kick is at 12. Buccaneers, 12 o'clock. And Sunday, January 7th, the final game of the season, Atlanta Falcons TBA. The Saints have cut their cap down to $11 million under. They were really high during parts of the offseason.
All right, you guys, let's listen up. We won a game yesterday. And if we win one today, that's 2 in a row. We win one tomorrow, that's called a winning streak. It has happened before. So let's see some hustle. Let's jack it up a little. I got a feeling things are about to turn around for us.
Cardinals on Saturday, after the game was rained out on Friday. Cardinals winning the day game 11-4. Yankees winning the nightcapper 6-2. And yesterday the Cardinals won 5-1. So they got another series. They're on a hot streak after struggling so much this season. Sam Vaughn for Sam's Sports Report, Monday, July 3rd. Have a good afternoon.